Okay, is it A, B, C, or D? D. Okay. Is it D, A? Okay, majority answer D. That's correct. Letter D. That's nucleoid region. Remember that the circular DNA of a bacteria, okay, a prokaryotic organism, living organism, has this nucleoid region. So let's discuss each choice here. Now, for the chromosomes, as you can see, when we talk about chromosomes, it's a thread-like structure where the what do you call this one? Nucleic acids or the DNA, the genetic material or information of of living organism is present there. We also have here plasmid. When we talk about plasmid, it's the extra chromosomal DNA of the bacteria. So there is only one chromosome for a bacterium, okay, a single bacterium. There is a single chromosome. Take note that a bacterium again has a single chromosome. Now, for the nucleolus, okay, nucleolus is a spherical structure found in the cell's nucleus. As if you still remember the parts of the cell, specifically the nucleus, it has this nucleolus region wherein the synthesis or the production of ribosomes happens there. If we combine small proteins and uh, proteins, we can form this ribosomes, which is a what do you call this one? Subcellular organelles. Ribosomes are not organelles. Okay, ribosomes are not organelles. Remember that it's a subcellular organelles. Okay, because it is not composed. I mean, ribosomes are not composed of membrane-bound uh, proteins or membrane-bound proteins. Now we also have here nucleoid region or nucleoloid. It's the space within a prokaryotic cell where the genetic information is being encoded. Okay, that's nucleoloid region. Now here is an imagery of a bacterial cell. Remember that it has this flagellum. The whip it functions as the whip-like structure. We also have the capsule, the cell wall, the plasma membrane, the barrier in and out of the cell, the cytoplasm, wherein the uh, organelles are embedded. We also have the ribosomes for protein synthesis, the plasmid, the extrachromosomal DNA, the pili. Now, for the attachment. Now, let's have the third one. The starting point of Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle is A, pyruvate, B, acetyl coenzyme, C, lactase, D, glucose. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, comment your answer on our chat box. D, D, C, D, D, A. Okay, pwede pa kayo magbagong buhay. A, A, wala pang nakakatama ng sagot. Ayan, ayun, meron na. Okay, the correct answer is letter B. That's acetyl coenzyme. Take note that the Krebs cycle occurs before oxidation of pyruvate. Now, without acetyl coenzyme A, Krebs cycle would not go to its process or would not work. Now, let's dig deeper each part of the cellular respiration. One of the parts, of course, the Krebs cycle. Now, in glycolysis, take note that uh, we know that there is a one molecule of glucose for every uh, 36 or 38 ATP that we can produce. Now, the six molecules, if you still remember the formula for a while, so the formula for cellular respiration is the chat box. Okay, the formula. The formula for cellular respiration is that we have C6H12O6. Okay, that's the glucose or the simple sugar. The six carbon molecule, of course, we will split that. Okay, in this process, wherein uh there is an involvement of ATP, or we need to consume ATP in order to split that six carbon molecule from glucose. That's glycolysis. When we are splitting sugar, okay, or when we are breaking six carbon molecules to three carbon molecules. So what will happen? Of course, we will consume energy. We will invest energy in that process in order for that six carbon molecule to be splitted. Now we also have here the pyruvate molecules, which are the product of the three for every three carbon molecules. Whenever we have three carbon molecules here, we can create or we can synthesize a one pyruvate molecule, a three carbon molecule. Now, during this process, we can reduce NAD plus to NADH. If you still remember this process, okay, we also produce here energy to ATP in this process, or phosphorylate ADP and inorganic phosphate to ATP. And there are enzymes or several enzymes present in this process, but we will not talk about those anymore. We will just highlight those basic information. Now, as you can see here, for every three carbon molecule, we can create one pyruvate molecule, one NADH. Okay, we also have two ATP. So those are the products of glycolysis. But remember, since we have four ATP in this process, and of course we consume two ATP in order to split the six carbon molecules, we need to pay those two ATP that we consume. So what will happen? Of course, the four ATP three from the three carbon molecules of course will be reduced. So what will happen? Of course, 4 - 2 is 2. That will be the exact product of glycolysis, which is 2 ATP, 2 NADH, and 2 pyruvate molecules. Remember. Now, during naman sa oxidation of pyruvate, this is the transition state wherein we need to synthesize acetyl coenzyme A, a 2-carbon molecule. If you still remember that during pyruvate oxidation, since we have two pyruvate or three carbon molecules for every three carbon molecules, okay, that's pyruvate again. We can split one molecule of acetyl coenzyme, which is two carbon molecule. Why is it two carbon molecule? Because there is a decarboxylation of carbon dioxide, or the release of carbon dioxide in this process. That's why dalawa na lang po yung carbon. Di ba yung pyruvate, tatlo dito? So dalawa na lang po kasi ni-release siya. That's the byproduct of pyruvate oxidation. Now, there is also a reduce of NAD plus to NADH during this process. If you still if you can still recall that during reduction process, there is an increase of hydrogen atoms. Okay, whenever we have reduction, whenever we have oxidation, there is a reduce of hydrogen atoms. So since this is a reduction, we gain hydrogen atoms. And of course, during pyruvate, we can form acetyl coenzymes or coenzyme A. Now, the acetyl coenzyme that has been produced during pyruvate oxidation, since we have two pyruvate oxidation, we can produce two acetyl coenzyme. Now, that acetyl coenzyme will be used in the Kreb cycle. If you can see here that the starting point of Kreb cycle or citric acid cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle is the acetyl coenzyme A. Since we have two acetyl coenzyme A for every, you know, I mean, we have two acetyl coenzyme A. We also have two turns of citric acid cycle. If you still remember, there are two turns. For every turn, we can, form 3 NADH, 1 FADH molecule, 1 ATP, okay? And of course, two carbon dioxides. That is the carbon dioxide. That is the first turn. Okay, for every turn of acetyl or meaning I mean citric acid cycle. Now, since there are two turns, just multiply those product in the first turn. Okay, we can now form 6 NADH, 2 ATP, 2 ATP, and of course 4 carbon dioxide. Okay, remember that those are the products of Kreb cycle or citric acid cycle. And of course, if you want, okay, just to highlight why, how does the citric acid cycle formed? Of course, because acetyl coenzyme will fuse to oxaloacetate. Okay, there's an enzyme present in this reaction, but I will not, mention those because it's, technical na po. So, you just need to know what the starting molecule of Krebs cycle, which is the acetyl coenzyme A. Now, let's proceed to the fourth question. Which are true for the characteristics of living things? Is it one, living things maintain their complex structure and their internal environment by metabolism? Two, living things reproduce themselves through the molecular blueprint called DNA. Three, living things have the capacity to evolve. Four, living things acquire and use materials and energy from their environment. A, 1, 2, 4. B, 2, 3, 4. C, 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 1, 2, 4. Okay, comment your answer on our chat box. Okay. So baka ang iba sa'yo nagtataka ba, parang weird yung tingin ko sa screen kasi nasa baba po yung camera ko. Ayan. Ayan. Is it C, A, B, C? Ayan. C, B. Okay. For those who do not know me, may regional accent po ako. Kaya minsan ganito ako magsalita. Okay. Okay. B. Okay. Let's have the answer. The correct answer here is letter B. Okay, it's 2, 3, 4. Sir, bakit po mali yung first statement? As you can see, living things maintain their complex structure and their internal environment by metabolism. Is it metabolism? No, it's homeostasis. If you still remember that metabolism is the sum of the total chemical reactions for every living organism. That is metabolism. Now, homeostasis is also known, or I mean, it's the internal environment of every living organism. You need to, to balance or to have an equilibrium in the internal environment of an organism. That is homeostasis, not metabolism. Now for 2, 3, 4, that's correct. Okay, we know that the blueprint of life is DNA. We also have living things have the capacity to evolve. Why is that so? Of course, through time, okay, we evolve. Again, if you still remember during your evolution topic, that individuals, okay, do not evolve, only population evolve. Kaya we evolve. Now, living things acquire and use materials and energy from their environment. That's correct. Uh, some examples are heterotrophs and autotrophs. Okay, yung mga autotrophs and heterotrophs natin. Now, here are some of the properties of life. As you can see, from order, evolutionary adaptation, regulation, reproduction, response to the environment, the stimuli, the growth and development, and energy processing. So those are some of the properties of life. Okay, just take down notes, those important keywords for every, property of life. Now, for the fifth question, given the following conceptual levels for considering the body, choose the correct order for these conceptual levels from smallest to largest. Cell, chemical or molecule, organ, organ system, organism, tissue. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay. Someone say someone says B, B. Okay. Okay, D, B. The correct answer here is letter. That's correct, letter B. As you can see, we have first the chemical or the molecule. One of the examples of molecule is that the energy currency of the cell, the ATP. We also have here the second one, the cell, okay, the basic component of life. We have the tissue, okay, the group of cells called tissue. We also have here, third, the organ, the group of tissues called organs or organ. We also have here the group of organs called organ system. And for the last one, you can see here that the organism, okay, if we combine all those organs, we can form an organism. That's the levels of biological organization. If we start with the biosphere, that is the totality of the life on Earth for a while. The totality of the life. Oh yeah. On Earth, we have the ecosystem. Example known is forest, communities, okay, different living organisms. We have the population, a single, uh, group of organisms, and organs. We have also what do you call this? Tissues, cells, organelles, okay, such as chloroplast, okay, site of photosynthesis, molecules such as ATP. Okay. Now, for the sixth question, what are the reactants of photosynthesis? Is it glucose and oxygen, carbon dioxide and water, ATP, or carbon dioxide only? Is it A, B, C, D? Okay, ano kaya yung tamang sagot? Okay, B, A, B, C, D, D. Okay, let's check your answer. Okay, the correct answer here, the reactants. Take note, the reactants. Whenever we have, chemical equations, there is always a reactant and product. So that's letter B, carbon dioxide and water. That's the raw materials or the reactant of photosynthesis. Now, take note that the uh, formula for photosynthesis or the equation for photosynthesis is that we have six carbon molecules reacts with six molecules of water, yields, of course, through the presence of sunlight, one molecule of glucose or simple sugar, and six molecules of oxygen gas. So this is the equation for photosynthesis. Take note, the raw materials, or other words, reactant. We also have here the product of the photosynthesis. Okay. Now for the next question, what are the products of cellular respiration? A, glucose and oxygen. B, carbon dioxide, water, and energy. C, ATP only. D, carbon dioxide and water. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, C, A, B, A, ayun, A, D, D. Okay, yung iba pwede pa magbagong buhay. D, A, B, C, D. Okay, A, B, C, D yung iba. Okay. Now, the correct answer here is, of course, letter B. Take note that the products of cellular respiration are carbon dioxide, water, and energy. We also have, a chemical equation for cellular respiration. We have the raw materials. Okay, we have one molecule of glucose or simple sugar reacts with six molecules of oxygen gas, yields six molecules of carbon dioxide and six molecules of water, and of course, energy. Some of the energy are being released by heat, some are being used by, or being converted through ATP. Again, this is the equation for cellular respiration. And if you can still remember the equation for photosynthesis, it's just like, a reverse reaction. Take note that plants also undergo cellular respiration. Their product, okay, kindly turn off your microphone since, okay, ayun. Now, take note that the product for photosynthesis for plants is used for cellular respiration. But in animals, such as humans, we do not, the photosynthesis equation is not reversible to, equation of cellular respiration in animals. Okay? Because, of course, magkaiba naman yung processes or the, uh, what do you call this one? How they obtain food, okay, magkaiba po yung plants and animals. That's why sa animals, hindi po reversible reaction yung photosynthesis sa cellular respiration. Now, let's have the next question. Which of the following component events of cellular respiration produces the greatest number of ATP molecules? Letter A, glycolysis, B, pyruvate oxidation, C, Krebs cycle, D, electron transport chain, and E, chemiosmosis. Is it A, B, C, D, E? Okay, C, 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 D. Okay, puwede pa kayong magbagong buhay. Okay, D, okay, D, almost as almost C. Okay, C daw, C. Okay, the correct answer for this question is that letter D, E. Okay, take note that during a chemiosmosis, okay, the ATP synthase, if you still remember the enzyme present uh, in electron transport chain, it helps to convert I mean uh pump up or use those protons in order to synthesize ADP and inorganic phosphate to ATP. That's chemiosmosis. When we are going to synthesize ADP and inorganic phosphate to ATP, that's chemiosmosis under electron transport chain. Take note also, pag wala kayong makita choice, pag wala kayong makitang choices, pag wala kayong makitang chemiosmosis sa choices, ang sagot diyan letter D, electron transport chain. But when there is chemiosmosis, ang sagot po diyan, of course, yan po yung sagot wherein yung greatest amount of ATP natin doon pinoproduce. Okay, take note that uh, cellular respiration has three stages and one transition state. We have glycolysis. Again, there are two ATP, okay, being produced through this process, two pyruvate molecules and two NADH. And of course, the transition state, which is the pyruvate oxidation, we can form two acetyl coenzyme A. We have two NADH and of course the release of carbon dioxide. We also have here citric acid cycle. We will use the acetyl coenzyme for every turn of citric acid cycle, we can produce one ATP. Since we have two acetyl coenzyme, we can produce two ATP, okay, in citric acid cycle. Now, we can form also 6 NADH and of course 2 FADH. That's the electron carriers. Now, ay, napiyo. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, we have NADH and FADH. So those electron carriers will be used during the process of electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. Take note that there are about 38 ATP for every one molecule of glucose. Okay, for every one molecule of glucose, there are 38 ATP. That is the gross or the gross total. The net total is 36. Why is that so? Bakit 36 na lang siya? Kasi tinransport natin yung NADH dito sa 'di ba galing yung glycolysis sa cytoplasm or sa cytosol, tinransport natin siya, yung NADH dito sa mitochondria natin. Okay. So kailangan ng dalawang ATP kaya magre-reduce tayo ng dalawang ATP during this process. Okay, kaya 36 na lang yung net total. Okay. Again, chemusmosis is the process wherein we create a number of ATP. It's about 36 to 38 ATP. But other books say that there are only about 30 or 38 ATP. Actually, hindi pa talaga wala pa talagang basis kung ilan yung I mean hindi pala basis. Actual na number of ATP for every one molecule of glucose. It's either 30 and above. Okay. Yun yung uh, pinag-aaralan pa ng mga scientists until now. Now let's proceed to uh, the next question. Which of the following does not occur during pyruvate oxidation? Is it the carboxylation of pyruvate producing acetyl coenzyme? Nasabi ko to kanina. NAD plus is reduced into NADH. NADH is oxidized into NAD plus. Carbon dioxide is produced as a product. Pyruvate loses electron to NADH. Ano kaya yung sagot dyan? Okay, is it A, B, C, or D? Okay. C, C, okay. E, ayan. Tingnan natin kung tama kayo. It's letter C. That's correct. Now, NADH is oxidized into NAD+. Okay? Hindi po yan nangyayari during pyruvate oxidation. Sabi ko kanina, okay? NAD+ is reduced into NADH. Kaya nag-gain siya ng hydrogen atoms. Hindi po siya nag-lose. Okay. For a while, may ano lang po. Okay. Ayan. Nag-chat lang si Guidance. Ayun. Now, decarboxylation again happens during pyruvate oxidation, wherein we release carbon dioxide as the byproduct of this process. Carbon dioxide is produced as a product. Pyruvate loses electrons to NAD plus. Kaya 'di ba naging two carbon molecules na lang siya from three carbon molecules yung pyruvate, naging two na lang siya, two acetyl coenzyme. Or yung acetyl coenzyme also known as two carbon molecule. Now, we have here the oxidation of pyruvate. Ayan, nasabi ko na to kanina. Now let's move on to the next question. The sum of the total chemical reactions that occur in living organisms, including digestion and the transport of substances into and between different cells. A. Respiration. B. Anabolism. C. Metabolism. D. Catabolism. Is it A, B, C, or D? Ayan, napiyok ako. Sorry. Ayan, C, C, C. Daming C. Mukhang papasa sa nat. Okay, again, it's metabolism. As I mentioned earlier, the sum of the total chemical reaction uh, done by an organism is called metabolism. Example nun, cellular respiration, glycolysis, ano pa, hydrolysis, dehydration synthesis, urea cycle, those are metabolism. Respiration is all about gas exchange, okay? Anabolism is about the building of smaller molecules to larger molecules. Say for example, 'di ba, sabi ko kanina, kung gusto niyo mag-build ng milk, sugar or lactose, you need two monosaccharides which are the glucose and galactose. So pag ma-synthesize mo yung glucose at galactose, okay, it will form lactose. Okay, that's anabolism. So yung mga lactose intolerant, okay, cannot, synthesize, cannot break down mga lactose intolerant kung meron sa inyo because they have, uh, what do you call this one? Uh, low amount of lactase enzymes. Ayan, may deficiency sila sa lactase enzymes kaya hindi sila nakaka-digest ng lactose or milk sugar. Okay, kaya sumasakit yung tiyan nila or something na uh, pabalik-balik sila sa CR or bowel movement. Now, catabolism, for example, i-break mo yung lactose into of course lactose into glucose and galactose. That's catabolism when you are breaking down large molecule into smaller one. Okay, sinabi ko kanina, kailangan ng lactase enzyme para ma-break yung lactose. Okay, ayan siya. Respiration, not only in humans, but also other some animals. Okay. Respire po sila. Hindi po, ang tawag po sa ibang, respiration organs ng animals, for example, gill sa isda, okay, buklang sa spider, and other use their skin in order to respire, such as those amphibians, okay, yung mga lizards natin, such as salamander, ayun, they use respiration process. Now, let's move on naman po sa Earth and Life Science. Earth Science. Okay. So, I hope you learned something kahit 10 question lang yon, which is somewhat yun yung mga mahirap na topics sa biology sa Earth and Life Science, yung cellular respiration, photosynthesis. Those are the, difficult topics in biology. Ayan, sa subject niyo. Okay. Now let's move on naman po sa Earth Science. Ayan, nasa Earth Science na tayo.
Yes
First
po.
question is that in the Philippines, it is associated with having less to no rain, dried up fields and dams, having low water levels, most especially during the dry season. Is it El Nino, La Nina, forest fire, tornado? Okay. Ano kaya ang tamang sagot dito? Okay, alam na alam nyo to. Ayan. Okay, that's letter A. That's correct. Letter A po ito. So we know that El Nino has something to do with drying up fields or dams, low water levels, or dry season, El Nino. The counterpart is La Nina or the cold season. Okay. Now, forest fire, okay, alam na natin yan. Na, it's all about destructive fire. Okay, it can spread all over the area. And we also have the tornado. Okay, tornado, wherein, it's a violently rotating column of air. When the surface of the Earth and the cumulonimbus cloud or those cumulus clouds meet, of course, magpo-form yung tornado. Ayan po yung mga types of clouds natin. Ayan, ito yung cumulonimbus. Ayan, yung cumulus. Now, for the next question, what must be done in order to preserve the biosphere for future generations? Ayan, this is very crucial nowadays, especially we are experiencing, increased level of global temperature or global warming, and it can cause, climate change or yeah, every day nagkakaroon ng pagbabagong panahon or weather, okay? So it's not good na pabago-bago yung panahon. Okay, I hope you can answer this question. Ayan. Okay, letter A, letter A. Ayan. Ayan, pwede na kayong maging mag-science. Sure lang. Okay. Now, letter A, understand how living things interact with the environment. That's correct. Okay. You need to, understand first, okay, the interaction of those living things with their environment before, you can preserve the biosphere. You do not, necessarily need technology, okay? Explore ways to drain and fill wetlands. Di mo naman kailangan masyado yan, okay? Put all wild animals and farmer preserves. Okay, ang unang-unang pag-aaralan mo is to understand how living things interact with their environment. Yan po yung kailangan niyong malaman para ma-save niyo yung biosphere natin. Take note, yung biosphere natin, it's the totality of life on Earth, whether nasa ano yan, land, nasa water yan, nasa atmosphere or higher altitude, okay, kung whether nasa ocean floor yan, okay, those kasama po yan sa biosphere natin. Now, let's move on to the next question. Which is a deep layer of electrically charged molecules and atoms that reflects radio waves? Ano kaya to? Is it troposphere, radiosphere, sphere, ionosphere, exosphere? A, B, C, or D? Ayan, B, A. May radiosphere ba? Ayan, C, B. Ayan, A bang sagot diyan? Tingnan natin. C, C, okay. Yung iba tumama, letter C. Okay, meron 'pag nagbabasa kayo ng tanong, hanap kayo ng clue words, okay? Which is a deep layer of electrically charged. 'Di ba 'pag ions, okay? Ions, okay, whether it's positive or negative, okay? Electrically charged molecules and atoms that reflect radio waves, that's ionosphere. Okay, wala namang radiosphere, okay? Troposphere, okay, the first part of the atmosphere, the lower part, the exosphere, the last part of the atmosphere. Now, take note that there are several layers of atmosphere wherein yung ionosphere natin matatagpuan po yan sa mesosphere and thermosphere natin. Okay, those electrically charged molecules natatagpuan sa thermosphere and mesosphere. Yung troposphere, okay, makikita natin yung Mount Everest pala. Okay, nasa troposphere region yan, yung mga clouds natin, some of the plains, okay? Then, we also have stratosphere, yung ozone layer natin, yung weather hot air balloon natin. We also have commercial jet, say for example. Then, yung mesosphere natin, wherein the meteors are burned, okay? Doon po nabe-burn yung meteors natin kasi nga sobrang lamig yung temperature dito sa mesosphere. We have thermosphere, okay? Okay, mainit po diyan. So, if you're familiar with aurora borealis and aurora borealis, okay? Doon po 'yun. Okay, sa thermosphere natin. Then exosphere, the outside layer. Okay. Now, okay. 'Di ba sabi ko kanina ionosphere dito sa region ng mesosphere, thermosphere, it's about 35 miles to okay, 60 miles yung distance niya. Okay, uh surface above the surface. Now, next question. Fresh water is an integral part of hydrologic cycle. How is it produced? Is it transpiration, desalination, condensation, evaporation? Okay. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay. Hanggang 1 PM lang po tayo ngayon. Ayan. Anong sagot niyo po? Ayan. B. D, B, D. C, D, C, D. Okay. C. Ay, hanggang 2 PM pala tayo. Ayun. B, C, D. Okay, let's see. Okay, the correct answer for this question is letter B, desalination. Take note that transpiration happens in, of course, one of the example sa plants po natin. Nagkakaroon ng transpiration. Okay. Meron mga pores or the stomata or the stoma of the leaves. Okay. Of the stomata are present sa, okay, uh, sa baba ng leaves or sa other part ng leaves, 'di ba ito yung top, nasa bottom part ng leaves, nandun yung most stomata natin, okay? So, dun po nangyayari yung transpiration, dun nangyayari yung gas exchange natin sa plants, wherein yung carbon dioxide are being diffused in, oxygen is being diffused out, water is being diffused out during this process. Now, condensation. It's all about the change of uh, gas phase into liquid phase. Okay? Alam na natin 'yan. And the counterpart of condensation is evaporation from liquid to uh, gas phase. Okay? Nag-change po siya or to water vapor. That's evaporation. Now, desalination, it's the process wherein yung dissolved mineral salts or sodium chloride natin are being removed, okay, sa fresh water, sa ano natin, sa saline water natin or those seawater, okay, i-remove po yung mga salts in order for humans to consume it and of course for agricultural purposes. That's desalination. Okay. Now, let's have the hydrologic cycle. If you can see here, the transpiration for plants and trees. We also have the precipitation, evaporation. And take note, the ocean has the biggest role for hydrologic cycle, the ocean. Okay. Now, let's have this question. Chemical weathering can be determined by analyzing the rock's A density, mass, temperature, composition. Is it A, B, C, or D? Ayan, ano kaya yung sagot? Ayan, B, C, D, ayan, C, D, D, A, C. Okay, ang tamang sagot po dito ay letter D. Okay, whenever we talk about chemical weathering, we are, studying its chemical composition, okay? Hindi po yung density, yung mass niya or yung temperature. It's all about the composition of the minerals. Now, take note that weathering is the disintegration of rocks or breaking down of rocks into, from larger into smaller. Okay, that's weathering. Now, there are, types of weathering. We have chemical weathering. Okay, oxidation, an example. Whenever the iron is exposed to oxygen and water, of course, the product of that reaction is rust. Okay, kalawang. So, the object that has been, rusted, pwede siya maging brittle. Okay, brittle or yeah, brittle. Now, that's oxidation. Hydration or hydrolysis, the chemical composition of the rocks here in this area, o pwede siya mag-change dahil nga sa water. That's chemical weathering. Now, we also have carbonation because of those harmful gases, okay, such as carbon dioxide. It can lead, to acid rain. Okay, nasisira po yung mga infrastructures natin. Say, for example, dahil sa mga acid rain natin, that's carbonation. Leaching or dissolution. Okay, whenever our rocks are exposed to water, say for example, nag-change po yung chemical composition niya. Okay? Agent nito is water, of course. That's dissolution. Now, there are also, you know, uh, other, I mean, there is also other type of weathering, which is physical weathering. Okay, aside from chemical weathering, we have physical weathering. Okay. Nung kumuha kayo ng Earth and Life Science, na-discuss ng teacher niyo about frost wedging, abrasion, exfoliation, or unloading, biological activities. Now, frost wedging, if you still remember that frost wedging caused by the freezing and thawing or melting of water that seeps into cracks of rocks. Say for example, may dalawa tayong rocks, then sa gitna nagkaroon ng crack. Okay. So, then nasa polar region siya. Okay, nasa malamig. Okay. Wherein whenever, precipitates yung crack ng rocks na yun nalalagyan ng tubig. Then since malamig siya, nagpe-freeze of course. Then as time pass by, since nagbabago yung weather natin, okay. So natutunaw siya. So ang nangyayari sa rock natin is that yung distance ng rocks natin na may crack, okay, is that, uh, what do you call this one? Or palayo ng palayo yung distance ng crack ng rock na yon, okay? Yung crack. So yung distant niya, or distance, palayo ng palayo or pahaba ng pahaba yung distance niya. So that's frost wedging. Now, abrasion, of course, it has something to do with the rubbing and bouncing of rocks with each other. exfoliation or unloading because of the low pressure, there is a peeling of large sheets of loosened materials in the rock. Mamaya makikita niyo yung mga examples. Then, of course, biological activities caused by an organism's activities such as plants. Okay, yung mga plants nagko-cause din po yan ng physical weathering. We have burrowing of animals, yung mga pagbaburrow ng mga animals sa ground. Okay, yung mga rats natin, di ba nagbaburrow yan sa ground, and other animals. Okay, we have humans also, they also contribute to biological activities in physical weathering. Now, ito yung pros wedging. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Okay? Now, plant action, biological action. Whenever yung roots ng plants natin, say for example, sinip nila yung water content ng rocks natin, okay? The rocks becomes disintegrated, okay? Lumalaki din yung mga roots nila, so naapektuhan yung rocks. We also have here, pros, aside from pros wedging, we also have wind abrasion. Take note, whenever I mean, the wind abrasion is that yung agent po dito is the wind. Okay, yung wind, nagdadala po yan ng mga sediments. Then, for example, na-hit niya yung structure na to. So, ang mangyayari, of course, na-disintegrate or nababawasan yung mga rocks nitong formation na to. So, there is an abrasion happening. Okay. Now, water abrasion, ayan, nangyayari to sa may mga humid area or moist area. Ayan, water abrasion. Wherein there is an intense of, flow of this water, yung pressure ng water sobrang sobrang at taas dito kasi nga kung mataas yung pressure, of course nagkakaroon ng abrasion in this process. Now we also have here ice abrasion. Okay, nangyayari naman to sa polar regions. Okay, kung napapansin niyo yung ice, okay, okay, nag-flow na siya sa bedrock. Okay, of course, nagkakaroon ng scraping or ice abrasion in that process. Okay. We also have exfoliation or pressure unloading because of the low pressure. Okay. Then nasa mataas siya ng lugar na part. The rocks are being disintegrated. Okay. Then it can fall apart. Okay. So mahulog siya. That's pressure unloading or exfoliation. Now, thank you, everyone. That's all for, a short review about Earth and life science. Ayan. Ayan. May natutunan ba kahit konti? Ayan. Ayan, malay niyo makatulong. Okay. Just an advice. Okay, dati din akong grade 12 din ako nag-senior high. So, I experienced taking NAT. Okay. Ang questions doon, parang pagod na po. Okay, malapit naman kayo graduate. So, ang question dun sa NAT is that ang hahaba ng questions, parang aantukin ka kababasa. So, be sure na ready yung utak nyo. Huwag kayong matulog kayo ng maaga, okay? Para fresh yung utak nyo 'pag nagsagot kayo ng exam kasi sobrang dami ng questions. Lalo na sa science, mga technical yung terms dun, okay? Most of the topics galing sa junior levels or junior high. So, kung gusto niyo magbasa-basa, ayan, basahin niyo yung especially may mga graph yun about pressure, ayan. Kung may physical science kayo, may mga pressure yan, eh. Kung naalala niyo pa yung, volume, mga gas, gano'n. Kasi nasa physical science yun. So, ayan meron ding earth science, okay? Aralin niyo din yung mga faults, okay? Normal fault, reverse fault, ayan. Ayun, parang meron yun dun ma-encounter ka. Basta may mga ano yun dun, mga pictures, okay? Parang i-analyze mo yung mga imagery dun. So, kailangan mo alam yung kailangan mo na bago ka makasagot is that analyze mo yung questions, then alam mo yung concept behind that specific question. So, ano pa ba? Mga tips lang. Ayan. Ayan. If you want to study more, okay, para makapasa sa NAT, okay, you may or you can. And of course, good luck sa Monday and Tuesday yung exam sa NAT. Ayan, probably, ayun, malapit na yun. So, ayun lang. Good luck sa journey nyo. So ayan, nagtuturo po ako sa Lyceum, ayan. Grade 11 ABM Earth and Life Science nila. Ayan, meron dito ata nakakilala sa'kin, ayan. Yun lang everyone. So ayan, 3 minutes na lang. So thank you for your time. I hope nakatulong sa inyo kahit konti. Ayan. Thank you everyone. Okay. You may now leave the room if you want.